I'm Joe's mom's neighbor Doug, and you're in luck because today we're bringing out the genuine plastic Magic 8 Ball to predict the future. Heck, without that 8 Ball, we can't even predict the present. But let's see if I can predict who will join us on this episode. First, it's the guy behind this podcast, OG. And from LenPenzo.com, we welcome Erno Rubik, designer of the Rubik's Cube. You gotta be kidding me. That guy's awesome. I love... Oh, actually, no. Turns out getting him was a real puzzler, so we just got Len Penzo. And finally, a special guest to be named later. What does that even mean? Joe, what does that mean? We'll find out. And when we asked the Magic 8 Ball whether this guy would host today's episode, the omnipotent 8 Ball answered, it is certain. It's Joe Saul-Sehy.
Well, hey, everybody, welcome to the first Friday of January. And if you're new here, you don't know what this means, but you're about to find out. It is our Magic 8 Ball episode, as Doug so brilliantly told us in the introduction. We are about to prognosticate the future. First, we're going to take a look back at last year, though. But even before that, let's introduce this band of merry characters for the first time in 2023. First of all, gentleman across the card table from me is my good friend OG. How are you, buddy?
Oh, yeah, we're going to have to do that again. Two-time defending champion dude from across the card table. So, take two.
Our mystery guest missed that piece, but we will introduce them later. But no, yes, two-time defending. Sorry, we'll be starting, by the way, our trivia challenge, OG, in 2 weeks. We're not doing that today. I think this episode's going to be long enough, and then next week we have a special guest. But in 2 weeks, it will resume. Where the guy deep under Los Angeles is looking for revenge, all dressed up, ready with the 8 Ball. It's Mr. Len Penzo. How are you, man? Happy New Year.
Well, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone out there. And I am excited, extremely excited for this. I've been working out the 8 Ball the past couple days. I will say this. 8 Ball is not quite on his game this morning. I gave a few test questions. He hasn't done very well. Just standards. Let me try one more just real quick here, just to get a final calibration. And we'll see if the 8 Ball is going to be ready for today or not.
Yeah, but Len, just to be clear, this thing should be ready for financial questions. Asking, is there enough lasagna to the 8 Ball? It doesn't really help. Let's be realistic.
Let's find out, shall we? Magic 8 Ball is, I'm going to give it a softball question here. Is schnitzel the national flower of Germany? Is schnitzel the national flower of Germany?
It cannot be determined at this time.
Uh-oh.
Well, there you go. That is. It's non-committal. That is not good. Ask it this one, Len. Len, yes. Do we have a special guest here for the Magic 8 Ball?
Now is not the right time to tell you.
Oh my goodness. Next thing you know, it's going to ask us for a raise, Len. Like, give me a raise and time off before I answer any of this stuff.
Uh-oh, we're in trouble.
Well, the good news is we do have a special guest, and it's somebody that longtime stackers know from Afford Anything, believe it or not. Paula Pant is here.
I am so happy to be joining for the Magic 8 Ball. This is a tradition. Like, I wouldn't miss this any more than I would miss Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas or putting on a costume every Halloween. This is a standard. This is baked into my year as the Magic 8 Ball moment.
Paula, you left the round table for your hiatus back in August. We've been now here prepping for this interview for about 20 minutes. How much has it changed?
How much has the
has the level of our discussion changed?
Hijinks.
I see the intellectual caliber of what happens behind the scenes is as high as it has always been.
Nice.
Paul's like, yeah, I'm glad I left for the last 4.5 months, and you're all the same idiots.
Paul, I just hope your hiatus is much better after 4 months off. I hope it's all, things are you're feeling much better.
It's all cleared up.
Your hiatus, is it okay?
It's I think it's going to persist for about 5 more months, and then after that it'll be it'll be in the past, a relic of the past.
Well, Godspeed.
The good news is
for you.
thoughts and prayers, Paul.
Thoughts and prayers.
I know on Afford Anything, you're going to be on your amazing podcast, Afford Anything. You are going to be having a discussion about this, about how kind of the process has been going. You are in, well, for everybody who's new to this show, tell everybody what you're doing right now while you're taking a break.
Sure. Yes, I am doing a fellowship in economics journalism at Columbia University. So it is a very intense, very rigorous 1-year fellowship in which I deep dive into the study of financial journalism, economics journalism, business journalism. I'm learning from some of the most impressive, established journalists in the field. People with long careers at the Financial Times, at Bloomberg, insert major media outlet here. And the combination, the course combination that I'm in, it's corporate finance and accounting. We're learning statistics, a lot of the business rigor, but then there are also some very heavy journalism seminars on how do we tell stories about this in print format, in audio format, all of the above. So I'm learning a lot.
It's fantastic, I think. And then you come back to Stacking Benjamins, and this is almost like, your thesis being here with us then after all of that. Yes.
One day somebody will be saying, I went to Columbia and I met one of the members of Stacking Benjamins.
Yes, right. Bloomberg, Stacking Benjamins, insert outlet here. Yes,
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
All right. We got the Magic 8 Ball here in the wings, so let's get started. All right, for those of you new to this show, every year we ask Len Penzo's Magic 8 Ball questions about the economy, about the world, about changes, things that may occur. In the early years, the Magic 8 Ball was right on. Then it went through a little struggle. However, during that struggle, it did some wild stuff. Over a year before the election, about a year before the election, we asked it if Donald Trump would win. And remember, Len, it said yes. We were all like, there was no way in 2016 that was going to happen. And of course,
that was amazing.
That ended up happening. That was a call by the Magic 8 Ball, among many calls. So this year we asked it our normal slate of questions. And Paula, you kicked it off. This was the question you asked last year.
All right, so my question to your Magic 8 Ball, who I have just learned goes by the name Mr. Predicto. In the year 2022, at any point between January 1st through December 1st, will any Latin American nation, meaning any nation in Central America or South America, other than El Salvador, accept cryptocurrency as an official form of payment? Will the government of that nation announce that it accepts any cryptocurrency as an official form of payment?
Before we get to what the Magic 8 Ball actually says, let's pause it right there, guys. First of all, I forgot that we named the 8 Ball last year.
Well, that's its name.
Mr.
Predicto.
Mr. Predicto?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. Could we come up with something better like Harold or Jim or something?
Len, I was thinking earlier when you were describing the 8 Ball's accuracy, because you kept referring to the pronoun as he, and I was thinking, I was like, did we ever establish that the pronoun is a guy? But I guess we did last year when we named him Mr. Predicto.
I guess we must have.
Well, his name is stamped prominently on the top of his head. So, I think we don't have much choice in the matter.
It has to. Well, we'll spend a lot more time later in this show going into the canon behind Mr. Predicto. I can see longtime fans. That's not canon. Are you kidding me? No, remember, it's his second marriage, Mr. Predicto. What we found out, actually, in exploring this answer was a year ago, we did not realize that in 2021, that Argentina had actually already accepted the
Is Argentina in Central America, though?
No, it was any Latin American nation,
Latin
she
America.
asked.
The question
And
is
she
Latin.
defined that as Central or South America.
Oh, I didn't see the Central or Southern.
Yeah. So here was the answer. The answer then is no new country actually accepted crypto last year. Could you imagine that? Like August of this year, as crypto's crashing, all of a sudden, like Venezuela goes, "Hey, what do we got to lose? Our economy's crap already. We'll accept crypto. We'll accept your brother-in-law's Ford. We'll accept whatever the hell you want to throw at us. We will take it." Well, here's what the answer was from the APOL.
Definitely yes.
Ooh.
So the APOL said yes. APOL, Len, getting off to a slow start here. The answer
Well, this is
no.
disappointing. Maybe the 8-ball misunderstood the question, like we just did. I don't know. I'm boy, this is not good.
That's what we're going to hope for, Len. We're going to hope this is all just a big misunderstanding. Yeah.
Never good to get off on a bad start like that.
Well, you asked it a question next, so let's see. Yeah, what question did you ask it for 2022?
Okay, so my question is, obviously the inflation's around, but will the CPI print double digits in any month in 2022?
We had, by the way, variations on that question in the Facebook group. Mark and Mike also asked. I go into all the people that wanted to know this because, Len, this idea about inflation last year, it was on everybody's mind as we were ending the year. And man, maybe, Len, it should have been on our minds even more, huh? Looking at what happened this last year.
Well, well, what was the answer? I don't think it did it? I don't think inflation officially printed a double-digit number. I don't think.
Yeah, the answer is luckily no, but man, we got almost there, didn't we? We got so close so many times.
I don't know. Looking at my grocery bill, I would swear that it was double digits, but hey. And the sandwich, as the sandwich survey showed, right? The sandwich survey showed it was double digits, but that's not the CPI.
I think the sandwich survey might be a better indicator of inflation than the CPI. Just showing your and my confidence in the consumer price index.
Doesn't CPI exclude food and energy?
Yes, it does.
Isn't that just great?
The whole BS thing about the whole thing. It's like, no, inflation's only 4%. It's like, but you're not including the two of the three major expenditures in a person's life.
Yes.
I gotta eat and heat my house. Like, well, yeah, that's really expensive, but inflation is not. So
yeah, OG. Whenever they do CPI, they need your theme. They need the music.
Here's the real CPI number. 7%.
It is magically so. Yeah. All right. Let's see exactly what the 8-ball did say, Len. The answer is no. Luckily, doesn't mean it wasn't bad. It was. We felt inflation big time, but the CPI never reached double digits. But did the 8-ball call that one?
Definitely yes.
Yes. It was a confident one, Len. I mean, that was super confident that the CPI was going to be.
Well, they were kind of creeping up when I asked the question, but I didn't think it would ever get to double digits. But Mr. Predicto did think. Mr. Predicto did think so, and I guess maybe he was looking at the sandwich survey and not looking at the CPI.
I was going to say, can we? Yeah, can we go on the record and say we believe Mr. Predicto more than the CPI? Can we do that? Let's please do that. All right. Next up, OG, was your question. Let's hear what you asked the 8-ball.
Got this one from the audience at home. Will Congress, we'll just say Congress, the collective, will they kill backdoor Roth contributions?
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah, good one.
IRA, then you convert it to a Roth. Will they kill it in, between now and the end of the year?
This is so funny that, OG, you'd ask that, because I know as we were ending 2021, this was a big deal. Remember, guys? That we thought backdoor Roth was going to go away and that, wow, this is going to be big 2022 news. And looking back, we're like...
Came a bunch of nothing burger.
Of all of the things that we could have been worried about for 2022,
right.
we chose that one.
I remember a year into COVID, remembering that Kobe died just before COVID hit, and like remembering that Kobe Bryant died and thinking that that would be a big thing for that year. And then right after that, the economy shut down. Was just, don't get me wrong, it was a big deal with the superstar dying, but the fact that I didn't even remember it shows how little that was. The answer to this one, of course, was they did not, OG, kill the backdoor Roth. So that gives people some
There's
planning.
still time.
There it is. That's right. They could kill it anytime now. So the answer is no, they did not. Let's see what the 8-ball did with this.
Everything points to no.
Oh, they will not kill it. How about that? There we go. So the answer was no, and the 8-ball making a comeback here, Len. Finally gets on the board. It's good things to come.
This is we've set the bar low, I guess, for the next round, so that's good.
Well, we will see. We don't know. I mean, yeah, things are rolling. I asked a question here that comes from our community. This was Wesley, who's a stacker in our Facebook group, The Basement, and he asked this one. Will the Fed have more than one rate hike in 2022? I think that's a great question, Wesley. So we're gonna ask that one. Will the Fed have more than one rate hike?
Remember when we were so young and innocent?
Just a second. This is what I think about the Fed and one rate hike. Yeah, Paula, that would have been great. One rate hike. Imagine how that would have been.
If we celebrated rate hike day, you know, the like a once a year tradition, kind of like recording the Magic 8-Ball episode. One time a year it happens.
It did feel like that after a while, OG. Like it was, hey, remember that time we had a rate hike? Remember, Matt? I mean, we really over that 7-8 year stretch got into this nice mode.
Yeah, there weren't too many, if any, for that matter. And now, now it's a party every 6 weeks, whether we want it or not.
What's that thing? Rate hikes are like Chicago elections. Raise them early and often was what the Fed thought this year. So let's see what the Fed, not what the Fed said. Let's see what the 8-ball said.
Hey,
did they?
Before you do this, Joe? Before you do this, I mean, this is a good check of the consistency of the 8-ball, right? Because the 8-ball thought there was going to be double-digit CPI inflation. So you would think that it would predict multiple rate hikes, correct? You would
Tons
think.
of rate hikes. Yes, absolutely.
So I'm anxious to see what it did.
Yes. Well, yeah. Let's take a look.
The answer is unclear.
Come on. We will.
Try again.
We will try again, 8-ball. We will. We didn't say Mr.
I would not count on it.
Oh. Would not count on it when pressed, Len. And it turns out that was just a bit outside.
I hate when it answers questions in the negative. You know, it kind of makes me have to think twice. So the question was whether there could be multiple rate hikes, right? And it said no, there would not be multiple rate hikes. Correct?
No, there would not be multiple rate hikes. Yes. Yeah, you're right. Double negative. Yeah.
There would not be multiple
So
rate hikes.
so there would only be one rate hike.
Yeah.
Yes. So this thing, so it isn't consistent. He
no.
screwed up.
No, we could have asked it. We could have asked it, is Jerome Powell consistent? And if it would have said no, then it would have been fine. We never asked it that. Maybe
consistently
it's all in the
accurate
delivery.
about Powell.
You're right.
Yeah, maybe it thinks that Powell is doesn't know what he's doing. So, all right. At the end of round one, we've got the World 3, Magic 8 Ball 1. This is not great. Not a great start for 2022. Of course, 2022, when it comes to the stock market and everything else, all we talked about, Paula, was uncertainty this year. Apparently, even an 8 ball was pretty uncertain when it comes to 2021 or 2022.
Maybe it was hedging its bets.
That's it. I think it was a good year to hedge its bets. Yeah. All right. Second round, Paula. Let's see what you asked the 8 ball.
At any point in the year 2022, prior to December 1st, we'll say, for the sake of having a definitive cutoff date, between January 1st to December 1st, 2022, will Congress pass a rule, whether or not it goes into effect, will they pass a rule in which they outlaw, ban, change the 1031 exchange? Another
thing, Paula, that we thought that was going to be a big deal this year.
Wow. You know, is the Magic 8 ball off, or is it us?
I don't know, but at the time, it's amazing about what was on our mind, rolling into 2022. Like, wow, all these big changes, none of which happened, were all the thing. And I guess, OG, really, taking a break from the hilarity of looking back a year ago. Seriously, this is why you don't plan on what might happen, right? Why you do not base your financial plan on what Congress might do.
I think you have to pay attention to it, and you have to have some sort of, contingency plan, or at least what if scenarios, right? Different organizations, they might call them like red teams or something like that, where they go, okay, well, what happens if this thing goes completely sideways? Kind of game plan it. But I don't think that it's a really good exercise to plan, especially out beyond a year or two. We're starting to think about the tax law changes that sunset in 2026. And it's like, okay, that's so far away in the grand scheme of things. I mean, it's another election cycle and a half away. There's so much that's going to go on between now and then that I don't know that you use a lot of really good creative energy in trying to game plan for what 27 looks like at this point. So to your point,
yeah,
do what's in front of you.
Let's see what the 8 ball said. The answer is no, that it did not. They did not kill the 1031 exchange, Paula. So let's see what the 8 ball said.
Mr. Predicto.
The answer is yes.
Ooh.
Wow.
I was just glad.
How did you, I have a question. You said you were warming up the 8 ball this year, which I think is good news, because I feel like last year you just fed it eggnog, leftovers from the holidays. 8 ball seems to be on a bender here.
Joe, this is embarrassing. I mean, this is worse than a coin flip. I mean, you couldn't coin flip this and get more.
That's what we could do this year, is we could give it, put them in timeout.
Put the 8 ball in timeout.
It's the annual coin flip episode.
We could do a competition, 8 ball versus coin flip.
See if its cousin, the coin flip, beats it.
Hey, there's a long way to go. Isn't there like 7 questions left?
It can come back.
Yeah, it could.
Still a chance.
Oh, I like this, Len.
Kind of like Paula's trivia score in like July. It's like, well, there's a chance.
Oh, God.
It can happen.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Statistically.
I swear to God, OG's brought up last year's trivia competition now 3 times. Just say it.
It's never ending.
OG, is that the trophy behind you? Is that the trophy?
Indeed.
All right. Well, it apparently does not know, Paula, any of it. It's over 2 on your questions. Len, let's move on to you and see what you asked the 8 ball.
I have one related to housing too. My question is the average U.S. housing price in 2022 going to be more or less than what it was at the end of the year in 2021? So basically, I'm asking, is home prices, the average U.S. home price, going to fall?
I'm always just wondering, how are we going to measure that? Do we have a measurement?
Well, I know I've seen it
Case
before.
Shiller Home Price Index?
I know I've seen articles where they say the average, or it could be the median too.
Yeah.
It depends on when you.
We actually went with the average sales price of houses sold in the United States off of Fred. At the St. Louis Fed is what we ended up agreeing to. And Len, this is another thing we were worried about, was that housing prices were going to fall. I remember, Paula, you and I having a discussion about this where, obviously with your real estate course that people can take that opens up once a year, the number of people that ask you questions about real estate. I remember you always saying that you thought that real estate was going to, quote, normalize. Mm-hmm. It sure feels like that's kind of, as of right now, what's really happened. Like, you do have to stage your house again to get it to sell. There will be a few months. You are going to have to work it a little bit. Like, you're not going to get this insanity of 15 offers over ask price in most communities.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. It normalized. So now we're... home prices have not fallen. They've continued to rise. But rather than rising at unsustainable rates, which is what they were doing in 2020 and 2021, they are now rising at slow, sustainable rates. So home prices keep going up, but in a way that can sustain over time.
Len, I know, hanging out there in the bunker with you, that when they talk about housing price insanity, you live in an area that's, there's a bullseye where you live. I've got to imagine that the last, 10 years, you've seen housing prices just skyrocketing where you live.
They have, like a rocket ship. They have gone up. Now, in my neighborhood, the prices actually peaked in May, and they've been dropping slowly. So
they've actually dropped. They have dropped.
Yes. So I think the one house in my neighborhood, there was a house that sold for over $1 million, and that's when I told the honeybee, I said, I think the market has topped, and that was in May. Since then, the prices have dropped about 20% from that number right now. So that's since May.
Is that because people would have to be your neighbor? Is that why prices have dropped?
You stepped outside wearing
I think it would drop a lot more. If they knew that, the prices would plummet even more.
I just read in the Wall Street Journal the other day that Fannie Mae and the FHA are increasing the conforming limits on in the high cost living areas up to over $1 million now. And what that means is that to get $1 million mortgage is no longer a jumbo mortgage. You're just a regular old schmo, just like every other mortgage according to the government, which means that you can get $1 million mortgage with a 620 credit score and 3% down. And I wonder the impact that that's going to have on those already high cost of living areas when the barrier to entry, it used to be, you need to qualify for a mortgage with a higher credit score. It's got to be a jumbo. You're putting 20 or 30% down, which is, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And now you can go get a mortgage, $1 million mortgage for $30,000 down and a 620 credit score. You still have to qualify from an income standpoint, but
sure.
And the jumbo rates are higher too, right? Jumbo rates are higher than conforming rates.
They are, yeah. And so
now they won't have to pay those higher rates.
Yeah, still maybe some PMI perhaps or something like that. But I just wonder how that's going to affect the already high cost of living areas,
Are you asking what could possibly go wrong with that? So the answer to the Magic 8 Ball should be no, that prices are not lower at the end of 2022 than they were at 2021. They are higher nationwide, according to the St. Louis Fed. Let's see what the 8 Ball had to say.
Definitely yes.
Ooh.
And the 8 Ball goes the opposite way. Again. I think you're onto something with the coin flip, guys.
I think this is the worst. I think this is the worst ever start. Getting out. How many right so far? One.
8-Ball, hey, why don't you come down to HR and just, bring the stuff from your desk while you're here and your employee key card. Yeah, that'd be great.
Gosh. All right,
we move on to OG. You had the next question, and here's an interesting one.
Tech stocks have just been crazy, right? NASDAQ, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Google, that whole deal. So very simply, will the NASDAQ, QQQ, will it outperform the S&P next year?
Wow, OG, what a question. Like if we knew what an explosive question that was going to be this year about tech stocks. The month of November, as we're recording this, we just got the report that 50,000 people laid off at some of the biggest tech companies, way more than the previous month, which I believe was either 14 or 19,000 people laid off. Not huge for the economy overall for November, but for that sector and how loud it was. How many people know that all these tech companies laying off people? That was big. Tech OG was definitely where you didn't want to be.
Yeah, no kidding.
So the
weird how that works, how there's like cycles, not always the same thing all the time.
Are you saying that the fact that we had a stock market that just went straight up the past 10 years might not be a thing?
Weird.
Let's see exactly what the 8-Ball had to say. The answer is, of course, no. The S&P 500 beat the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ did not outperform the S&P 500. Here's what it had to say.
Everything points to no.
Well,
got it right.
How about that? Is it the comeback, Len? Are we having a comeback?
OG's questions are 2 for 2. Let the record reflect. Everything's a competition, and I'm winning again. Yes.
Well, if the 8-Ball thinks, Len, that playing favorites is since OG won the trivia challenge last year, like is the way to keep your job.
Really, I didn't know that. Did you win? Did you win trivia? OG?
Turns out.
I had no idea.
With time to spare, as a matter of fact.
But as you know, Len, as you know at work, nobody likes to suck up, right? Nobody. If the 8-Ball's just sucking up to OG, nobody likes to suck.
Well, you know what? Let's just take this and be thankful we got one right and 2 right now, and let's two right, and let's build on this. Let's build on this. I'm sure Paula learned about building on little successes in her at Columbia.
Yes, I'm sure that's what they talk about all the time.
That kind of motivational rah-rah. I haven't heard much of that.
Not yet. I'm sure that's later in the curriculum, right? It's got to be. Okay, so I asked a question then, which was not about the NASDAQ. Well, let's listen to it. I'm going to go with Kathy's question from the basement here. Will the performance of the S&P 500 in 2022 be greater than it was in 2021?
My goodness.
Are we going to have more than plus 25 this year?
Wow.
Are we going to have more than plus 25? How great a question is that?
I love our questions. Wow. You could have made a round of financial decisions based on doing the inverse of what our questions implied and what the 8-Ball answered.
That's just like asking, like in 1999. So will AOL stock beat the 97% it had this year? In 2000. That's crazy.
Pets.com outperformed.
Right. Pets.com going to go even further north. Yeah. Just holy cow.
Let me ask Jeeves.
Yeah. Well, the answer to this obviously was no. And I think even at the time, I mean, did you hear us? We all went, wow. Like, what? Could it really get better? So will the S&P 500 be greater? Clearly that is a no. Let's see if the Magic 8 Ball was on board.
The signs say no.
There we go. How about that, Len? There's a
what?
resurgence. Did we just have to maybe you got it a sandwich partway through, or what happened?
I don't know, but you know what? This is 2 stock market questions in a row, and it nailed both of them. So, maybe, this is where its expertise really lies, Mr. Predicto.
It's a sector thing.
Yes.
It's like
keep those stock market questions coming.
That's exactly what it is, Paula. Like in journalism, you said it's like business and finance journalism, period. Like you're not doing sports stories.
Yeah, correct. You there are 4 concentrations that you can choose from. It's business or finance, science, arts and culture, or politics. So you pick your concentration and boom, you immerse in just that.
For those people not watching the YouTube video, Len has the sorting hat on right now, so maybe that's part of it. You've sorted it down to just stock market inadvertently. I don't know. It's bad when we're starting to make excuses for the 8 Ball. It's like at that party when somebody really steps in it with something they said, and everybody's like, "Hey, it's going to be okay." I think Grandma didn't really mean that.
Let's don't be so hard. Look,
Specializes.
Mr. Predicto's making a comeback. Let's think positive here. Things are looking up.
Yeah, here we go, which means we're on round 3 now. And Paula, you kicked off the 3rd round with, here we go.
Will there be a change on the British royal throne, at the highest level of the British royal throne,
not the lowest
in
level,
2022, at any point in 2022 prior to December 1st?
Wow. Before we hear the rest of that, what a change, wow. Paula. What a change.
I regret asking the question. I mean, wow. That was,
you think you were responsible? Did you get
I don't claim that level of influence, but sometimes being prescient isn't always preferred.
I just want to make sure Paula doesn't ask Mr. Predicto any questions about me in 2023.
Yeah.
You get a call from Meghan Markle. Thanks for getting rid of her.
Oh.
No. Maybe not. Probably
Ouch.
Not. Was that in bad taste? I'm sorry. Megan, I apologize. Just because she might think it doesn't mean she would have said it. So let's see. So obviously there was a big change on the throne, and a new season of The Crown. By the way, anybody watching The Crown? And I'm hearing all kinds of negativity about it, saying, "Yeah, this is not truthful." Like they're doing some stuff that isn't really real. I'm like, really? A TV show on Netflix and it's not real?
You don't say, huh?
That's pretty weird. Yeah. All right. So was there going to be a change on the crown? The answer was yes, obviously. 8 Ball said.
It is a strong possibility.
No. Got to go with yes. That's a yes.
Yes, I think that's a yes.
That's a yes.
That was the most tepid yes we had from the 8 Ball all day, but we're like, we'll take it.
He squeaked over the line. Yep.
Everything is a win there. So that means now 8 Ball now up to
4.
4. Wow, really? That was a quick turnaround. 4 right, 5 wrong. 8 Ball coming out of nowhere.
That good run, and we're still behind. Okay, well, that's all right.
I know, but still, just the fact that 8 Ball's even in it. All we've done so far this show is bitch about the 8 Ball, and he's like, "Hey, I'm sitting right here." Yes,
3 impressive calls,
defending its honor in quite a way. Well, Len, as the caretaker of the 8 Ball, you asked the next one, so let's see if the trend continues.
It's something precious metals related. I want to know, I'm going to think big again. I struck out with the gold miners in 2021. This year I'm going with silver very simply, I want to know, will the price of silver pass its all-time high and then some this year in 2022? Will it reach $50 or more? Please.
Oh, before we do that, Len, tell us what happened with silver this year.
It took a dump. And let me just say this, that my miners did crappy in 2021 and my miners did crappy in 2022. So I'm this is just terrible.
Are you going to double down?
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Let me just say again, I've always said those are my those are just my play money, my speculate, and I only put up what I can afford to lose. And lately it's been I've been losing a lot.
All of it.
But here's the thing, Len, seriously, based on the why people would buy silver, it just doesn't compute that it didn't hit an all-time high. It sure seems like after the run that we had and so much uncertainty, why silver didn't get there this year is...
Well, you have to look at the market. There's two different markets in precious metals, gold and silver especially. There's a paper market and a physical market. So if you wanted to sell or buy physical metal, gold or silver, silver premiums, which is the price over spot, were up to as high as 75 to 100% this year. So even though the spot price was at $17 or $18 at the low point this year, you try going onto any retailer, online retailer, or going into a pawn shop or wherever to buy gold or silver, you would still be getting or buying at 75 to 100% over that spot price. So you couldn't find, for example, American silver eagles for anything less than $36 to $40, even though the spot price was at 17. So there's a difference there between physical and silver price.
Boy, I remember speaking to one of the foremost experts in silver, and he was telling me just a couple years ago, Len, just about how frustrating silver can be. Like he just warned anybody getting into silver. He said, this will frustrate you to no end, that it will go up and you're like, why the hell did it go up? And it will do nothing when you think it should do something. And this is a guy that knows a lot about silver, that's an unpredictable market. Was his point. And
the other thing is the silver tends to make its moves all in a very short time frame. It's either you're on board when it makes its move or you're not, just because the move happens usually so quickly within months. Whereas gold, if you're worried about the silver and roller coasters and losing your lunch over price moves, stay away from silver. But you still want the protections of physical precious metals. Then you want to move to gold, because gold is much more stable. It doesn't have those huge swings in prices. I mean, it can really you better be a very strong constitution if you're investing or speculating in silver.
So the question was, will silver reach an all-time high and then some by reaching $50 or more? The answer is no, it did not. Let's see if the 8 ball continues the trend and ties it up.
You're right. Or retirement on the hook.
That is a likely outcome.
Oh,
Like it.
Len's got, and yeah. It did not. It goes down by 2. The good news is we got 2 questions left, though, guys.
Yes.
OG, let's keep our momentum going, because we know that this 8 ball can come back.
We need you, OG.
Yep. Let's see what OG asked the 8 ball.
Let's do your tour then. Will Joe hit 42 cities on his book tour?
Let's find out.
The question was, would I hit 42 cities? Why does it say 37 in these notes?
Why does it say that in the thing?
How many cities did you hit?
I hit 42. I did hit 42
Joe?
cities. But did you really?
Totally feels like he's making it up.
But did you truly hit 42 cities?
Are you defining Minneapolis and St. Paul as separate cities?
Well, the answer is it was 40, but I made a couple extra appearances. By the way, OG, you joined me at some of those. Thank you very much. That was fun. You toured Texas with me and then went over to Atlanta with me. That was super fun. Of course, came to the kickoff in Texarkana, where our cake said that it was a celebration of state. Remember that? Because the woman who decorated the cake couldn't spell. It's always good when you go get your cake and they've got the name of the book wrong on the celebration. And then
what did
Paula,
it say? The
you
Millionaire Next Door?
That's right. That's right. It was the simple path. Probably not. No, it just said state, not stacked. It said state. Yeah. It was great. And then Paula, we had so much fun on the East Coast. That was a blast.
Yeah, we went to you and I what, 5 cities together, 6 cities together, something like that.
Yeah, Boston, New York, Philly, DC,
Baltimore, and then
more Baltimore,
Chicago,
5.
didn't I?
And then you did come to Chicago. OG was in Chicago. Yeah, actually, everybody was in Chicago except, unfortunately, Len. I think you had an obligation then.
Yes.
But we had almost the whole gang there. That Chicago venue was amazing. Just amazing.
Gorgeous.
Michigan Avenue, way up high, overlooking Lake Michigan and downtown. Just beautiful. But that wasn't, we don't need to go on about that. The answer was yes, I did go to at least 40 cities. And the answer here from the 8 Ball?
The answer cannot be found at this moment.
Yeah, it's because it was a vague question. It's like on 42. I'm going to say, can I give you some leeway? Say more than 37.
Oh, here we go. You actually gave us leeway. There you go. Yeah, 37. The answer is definitely yes.
Yeah, you might make more.
The answer is no.
Ooh. Well, you know what? How many cities did you go to, Joe?
Well, I'd at least 40, but there were a couple extras. I went to Economy. We had the kickoff date in Texarkana, so I think I went to 42. And by the way, I pointed out OG and Paula. Len, you and I had a blast in San Diego and then again in LA. Those were some fun tour stops.
I had a great time meeting your readers, and I understand. I mean, obviously, I know you would have invited me to more, but the appearance fee I was charging you was I know it was a little high. I promise next time I'll comp you the appearance fees. But
thank you, thanks. Make it better on book number 2. Yeah, that was difficult. You know what was? It was funny. Len really hemmed and hawed when I had to ask him for a ride. I was hitchhiking back to Los Angeles.
I was going to put a little extra on there, but no, I thought the appearance fee was already killed.
Yeah, we had a blast in both of those. Well, in all the cities we went to. Thanks to everybody who came out. But the bad news, Len, is that it got another one wrong. Which means we only have one left.
I'm going to file that one under protest because, OG had the right question the first time, and then he clarified it. And, I'm going to stick up for Mr. Predicto today.
Yeah.
So there.
You tell him.
I think by my calculation, it still would have been wrong. Wouldn't it have been?
Well, I don't know. Economy, does that count? I mean, you were referring to your book Stacked.
Well, it was 37 and I went to 40. At least 40. You could say 42.
Was 42.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
That's
all right.
Okay.
Well, this is like every other episode of Stacky Benjamins. This one's under protest.
We'll put that one as an asterisk. Put an asterisk on that one.
For all those people counting at home. All right, we got one more question, and this one was from me. Let's see if it can finish strong anyway. This is the midterm elections, right? Will the House and Senate have a shift in majority? Meaning, so that's going to be both. So what he's asking is both. Ron asked, will the House and Senate see a shift in the majority? So the answer here is no, right? Because if it's the House and the Senate, that means the Senate flips to Democrats and the House goes Republican. So it was both. What do we see? Both? We did not. We saw half. We saw the Republicans maintain control of the Senate, and then barely ended up also with control now of the House. So the answer is no. Let's see what the 8-ball said.
It is best not to say now.
I would agree with that. I would totally agree. Want to keep our ratings high? You just shut up about this stuff. But 8-ball?
The answer you seek is yes.
Gonna see it. All right. Well, we did not see it. We saw half of it, and yeah, I mean, it was very much even late on election day, guys, that could have flipped completely. You could have had both sides of that, and did not see it. So,
isn't there still a runoff going on, or is it over with now?
They're probably.
They're still
I think the thing in Georgia's still going, right?
Oh, there
is.
There is. Well, as of our recording of this, yes, there is still the runoff in Georgia. But the answer is, Len, not a great year for the 8-ball last year.
You know what? But there's always next year, Joe. There's always next year.
Well, coming up right after the break.
And it turns out next year's here.
Yes. We're going to ask it another set of questions. We won't know for 12 months if it's right or not, but we will do that. I think, Paula, your idea of a coin flip, we'll see next year how this goes. And maybe a competition. Maybe we have to do that next year. But for this year, we're going to give Len the Magic 8-ball one more shot. But first, before all that.
Can we ask the 8-ball if this year it will get more right than wrong?
Well, let's see.
One of the
Len,
a meta question.
Len, before we go to the break, let's ask it that. Paula?
All right. Mr. Predicto. This year, 2023, will you answer more questions right than wrong? More questions correctly than incorrectly?
Is this the tiebreaker question?
Yeah, we'll make this the tiebreaker. I didn't play the tiebreaker from last year because.
Yeah, did he get it right?
Wasn't
did he get it right?
It did get it right. Doug, of course, who's a Purdue graduate, asked, "Will Purdue make it to the Final Four in basketball?" The answer, the of course answer was no, and the 8-ball was correct on the tiebreaker question.
Go. So all right. So.
Yes, but here's our tiebreaker question.
All right, one more time, Paul. I'm sorry.
All right, Mr. Predicto. This year, in this current round of questions that we are about to ask, will you, Mr. Predicto,
say it exactly right,
answer more of our questions correctly than you do incorrectly?
Now is not the right time to tell you.
Well, he's got performance anxiety. He's got performance anxiety now after all you guys have just... Here, let's try again.
Can you see that?
No.
That might be the first right answer he's given.
We're going to stick with mediocrity next year. That is a fine thing to do at a performance review.
Well, that's a buzzkill, isn't it?
And for the exciting second half of the show where we think we're going to suck, we will be right back. All right, time for the Magic 8-ball to redeem itself against its own prognostication. We're going to hope against hope that the 8-ball gets it right. Paula, let's kick off our 2023 predictions. What do you want to ask?
All right. Will the U.S. officially enter a recession in the year 2023?
Oh, boy. Are we back in politics again?
Are we not in a recession presently?
We're
Officially?
technically we are not yet in what is officially defined as a recession.
According to what? 2 negative GDP quarters, right? Isn't that the...
No. So while that is the common usage, like that's sort of the pop definition, it is not the official sanctioned term. So there's an organization that declares whether or not a recession has taken place.
Is this like Punxsutawney Phil has to see his recession?
What has that official organization used as their official diagnostic test for the last, I don't know, 65 years?
So there is.
I can look it up. Backtrack.
No. So I can look up the name of this organization. When we're not
NBER.
This call. This is okay, cool. But
NBER.
According to
it's NBER.
All right. According to NBER, will the United States officially enter a recession in 2023? And I suppose to make this question crystal clear, will NBER have declared that or have made that announcement by December 1st of 2023?
There we go, Len.
Here we go. Mr. Predicto, let's see what you can come up with.
The answer you seek is yes.
Yes. Well, seeing as how a lot of people think we might already be there, this is almost like CPI, isn't it? Like, oh, no. Look over there. The inflation's not that bad. Just look over there. It's fine.
I just want to be on the record. I think Mr. Predicto's off to a good start.
Yeah. Well, we'll see where this magic organization has to declare. Second on the list, Len, would you like to take a crack at it?
Yeah. Let's see. So I-bonds got a lot of press in 2022. They were throwing off returns of I think almost over 9% the first through May through November, and then the latest I-bond was in at 6.89%. My question for the 8-ball here is: will the I-bond interest rate that is announced in November of 2023, will that be under 6%? Will that I-bond be under 6%?
Yeah. So we went from, hold on, just so everybody knows that isn't familiar with this, we went from an I-bond that was at 9+ to an I-bond that was at 6+, and you're saying, is it going to continue to deteriorate? That's really kind of what you're asking here. Yeah, the interest rate
so
here.
Will it be less than 6%, the one that's announced in November of 2023? All right, here we go.
What do you think, Len, before you ask? Well,
that's I pulled them away. What do I think?
Good.
Yes, I do believe the I-bond will be if I'm guessing, I would say yes, it'll be under 6%.
Yeah, OG, you agree with that?
Yeah. The interesting thing that happened with the November change that most people didn't catch is that they added a base amount for I-bonds at 0.4. So what that means is that even if inflation goes to 0, you're still going to get 0.4 on that I-bond forever. So it's the base amount plus. Whereas the ones that were prior to that, when everybody's rushing in, October 31 to get their money in at 9.6, those have a base amount of 0. So those ones could actually go to 0, whereas the one on November 1st could go to 0.4. So, a small change, but interesting to see.
Yeah, that base amount is nice.
See.
It's like icing on the cake, actually. If you always have that. Yes, on your right. Okay, here we go. Do I have to formally ask the question again? I don't think so. Let's just go right to the.
Are you going with November or you're just saying by the end of the year?
Yeah, so there's going to be
he said the November announcement.
Right.
The November announcement
in May. I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the one in November that's announced on November 1st, 2023.
Is it going to be under 6%?
Under 6%. Right. Here we go.
Without question.
Wow. Well, the 8-ball agrees with both of you.
Yeah, you know what? I'm feeling good so far with his answers too. I'm feeling good.
These seem reasonable. Of course, every year we freaking say this.
It's going to be interesting listening back, in another year and saying, wow, remember that when we recorded this episode, we were thinking of these concerns. At that time, we were thinking about I-bonds and recession.
Remember when we didn't realize that hair loss is going to be the next pandemic? Remember that? Isn't that great? Remember the world before Disney owned everything? Remember that? Yeah. Next up, OG, you are up to bat, my friend.
Yeah, so I'll just keep it going on the recession talk / interest rates. So will the Federal Reserve lower rates in 2023?
So will they by December 1st? What do you want to ask? The rates are lower?
Rates. Not rates are lower, but will they have a lowering?
Oh, will there be a lowering of that? So even
a rate
just
will
to
there
be
be a
clear,
rate cut?
Will there be a rate cut? Yep.
Will there be a rate cut in 23?
Gotcha.
All right, here we go. Let's see.
That is a likely outcome.
Last year we took that as a yes. I think we take it as a yes here. That we will have an. I don't know. Do you think that? I mean, but Paula has said he's going to take a breather. But do you think we're going to reverse course on all these Fed raises?
I mean, I don't like to make predictions, but as of right now, that doesn't. Yeah, that's Mr. Predicto's job.
Stay in your lane, Paula.
Gotta quit asking. I thought, hey, Len, if Mr. Predicto's not going to get it right, I'm just going to go to you guys for the likely outcome. But I think you said not likely, Paula. That you.
Yeah. My as of right now, I there doesn't seem to be any indication of that.
I think that may be I believe that might be the first one the Fed gets wrong as well. OG, what do you think about that answer?
I think they will.
You think they will do a rate cut?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Well, that kind of goes along with some of the bond fund managers that we've done headlines about, talking about how the Fed might have gotten a little too ahead of itself. Maybe needed to slow down. So maybe put the brakes on sooner. Well, we will see. 12 months from now, we will see. All right, I'm going to go to the basement like I always do, which is our Facebook group. If you want to join, StackyBenjamins.com/basement gets you right to our Facebook group. But I'm going to start with this question from longtime stacker Matt Kramer. Matt's question, this won't be the official question, was will gold or Bitcoin be the better buy next year? We can't answer that because that's be yes no question, Matt. So I'm going to change it up for you a little bit, buddy. I'm going to ask this, Len. I'm going to ask, will returns of gold beat the return in Bitcoin next year? Will the return in gold between January 1st through December 1st beat the return in Bitcoin? How about that one?
I want to know.
What do you guys? Yeah, me too. I mean, what do you guys think there? Anybody got a thought or a prediction there? Is the devastation going to continue in crypto?
Bitcoin is on its way to zero.
Nope. Totally disagree. Crypto is now in its fourth crash, right? Crypto has existed for 14 years. This is currently its fourth crash. It keeps dying, and
But this is the first one that someone's figured out a way to steal $50 billion. So
yeah, Sam Bankman-Fried is the Lehman Brothers Enron of the moment, and he's probably going to go to jail. I'll throw that prediction out there. But
I love how he's still doing like interviews though. That like cracks me up. Like yeah, I totally screwed that up. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
My bad.
He must not have any attorneys. He must be out of money. Can't hire an attorney.
I don't think that he had nefarious intent. It doesn't seem as though he did, at least not in the beginning.
So he's just incompetent.
It seemed like he just had mismanagement, incompetence, but not nefarious intent. Either way, he lost a bunch of people's money. He's probably going to go to jail. all of
Did
that
his parents
is
buy like $120 million Bohemian estate like the week prior to the bankruptcy?
well.
Yeah, they're in
Anyway,
good shape.
interesting drama. It's fun crime TV, but
Sure.
that doesn't change the underlying fact that crypto is now in its fourth crash, and it keeps returning. There's
What's
a use case
interesting-
for it.
What's interesting to me, Paula, is in the first three, you didn't have as big a player as Jamie Dimon coming out against it. In this one, you've got Jamie Dimon going, and by the way, and JP Morgan Chase got heavily invested in one point in crypto and the crypto movement and using crypto. And yet
Sure,
Jamie
Dimon is
and
one
yet Jamie
guy. Why
Dimon
do I
now
care
says
about the
he's like,
opinion?
I'm not going to, well, because he heads up one of the biggest financial
he's-
institutions in the United States.
Yes, that
When
doesn't
Jamie
make him
Dimon talks,
fallible.
he's no, it doesn't. But you didn't have a name that big in the established Wall Street community speaking about how this thing isn't what we thought it was.
Well,
see.
there are a lot of people who are betting the other way. A lot of people, a lot of institutions, and I'm not. To be clear, I'm not stating that I think that this is sell your house and put everything in Bitcoin. I'm not one of those the crypto weirdos.
Maybe
but
just your car.
Blockchain,
Just
but blockchain technology is only going to get bigger over time. It's only going to become an increasing part of our day-to-day lives, and cryptocurrencies are going to be a major piece of that. Digital currencies will be a part of the fundamental fabric of our society. Now,
I'm on
which
board.
Crypto it is.
I was going to say, I'm on board with digital currency. I don't think I'm with you on cryptocurrency. I think on digital currency, yes. Cryptocurrency, I'm not so sure. I'm much less sure than I was 12 months ago. 12 months ago, I would have been on board with crypto too. This year, I don't know. I don't have an official opinion. Mr. 8-Ball does, or whatever. What the heck is it, Mr. Predicto?
Mr. Predicto. Wait, so what was the question that we asked Mr. Predicto?
Yeah, the question is will the price of gold beat the price of Bitcoin between January? Will gold appreciate more than Bitcoin between January 1st, 2023 and December 1st, 2023?
Yes, I am sure.
Wow. So gold outperforming Bitcoin. Well, we will see. I think that is going to be a
That's an interesting
storyline.
question. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I will say this. This is my prediction. If this is going to determine whether cryptos survive or not, if gold and crypto kind of track each other, and especially Bitcoin, I think that bodes well for Bitcoin. If they diverge, I think that will be the end of the cryptocurrencies. All of them.
Man, we will see. It's clearly developing to be a big story, as evidenced by the disagreement on this panel. I think that to me makes it even more interesting. Let's go to the next round, Paula. Round 2. What do you got?
Ooh. You know what? Since we're on the topic, will Sam Bankman-Fried go to jail in 2023?
Ooh. Short and sweet, Len.
There is no doubt.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I agree.
Sam, and I'm sure Sam listens to the show. Sam's like, yeah, that 8-Ball has sucked so far. I think the 8-Ball saying yes, he is going to jail makes Sam go, that means I'm not.
You know what? The one thing I don't think, I think the answer is no, just because, the wheels of justice turn so slowly. I mean, it takes, was that question about being convicted, or was it going to be arrested? I mean, because I think
asked, will he go to jail?
Yeah.
Go to jail.
We asked, go to jail. So
that
he has
just
to be
means-
in jail.
But it doesn't matter whether he's been convicted or not, just behind bars at some point.
Yeah. And I mean, technically, jail is distinct from prison, but I think
Because frankly, I think it's a
either.
loser. I think Mr. Predicto's wrong on that, because I don't think that they could do a trial. And how long did it take Elizabeth Holmes to go from the Theranos thing from her being
and they already said that Elizabeth Holmes isn't going to prison until April of 2023.
Yeah, but I mean that whole process started like what 6-7 years ago,
forever ago.
How long did it take Jeffrey Skilling and
Ken Lay?
How long did it take? Yeah,
Or not Ken Lay, not Ken Lay. Ken Lay was the prosecutor in the Whitewater stuff.
Jeffrey Skilling is the only name that I've come up with from that.
No, it is Ken
Jeffrey
Lay.
Skilling. Is it Ken Lay?
Yeah, it was Ken Lay.
There you go.
Who just died?
I said one of those two just died. I think
Ken Lay just died. Yeah, Ken Lay died, I think, this year. They're in 2022.
Len, you're the man.
Oh, okay. I want to stay. You got the gold and Bitcoin, and I have to ask. I know Paul always asks a royal question, royal family. I always have to ask my own precious metals question. So again, I'm going to get a do-over on the silver price. Let's hope. I'm hoping, anyways. Will the silver price exceed $50 this year in 2023?
Your retirement depends on it.
Yeah.
You said that last year.
You can rely on that.
Good little Mr. Predicto. Good boy.
Just enough hope. Just enough hope.
I don't have to go back to work just yet.
It just makes me wonder, OG, what kind of Kool-Aid he's been feeding Mr. Predicto. Come on, Mr. Predicto. Would you like me to tell you a bedtime story, Mr. Predicto, about silver? About how great it is? Before he puts you to bed. Next up,
Mr.
that
Predicto
brings
lives
us...
in the bunker.
OG, you are next up with your second...
It's my second one, right?
Question.
Okay, so just a real easy one. Couple of not so great months in 2022. Stock market was down. At the time we're recording it, there's still time. There's still hope.
Come on, baby.
Positive. Come on, Santa Claus rally. Big money, no whammy. Big money, no whammy.
It's got to be a fat Santa Claus rally. I'm not talking about FAT. I'm talking about it's got to be PHAT rally.
That's all right with me.
We need a fat rally.
Baby needs new shoes. Come on, big money, no whammy. Stop.
You can do it.
So I did read something, and I'm not much of a market predictor, or I don't kind of read into a lot of this stuff, but I did read something that said, after the market's down a certain amount, statistically it's, the next 12 months is going to be higher, yada, yada, yada. So this is just real simple. Is the S&P in 2023 going to be greater than 5%? I'm sorry. Let me redo that again. Is the S&P 500 in 2023 going to have a return greater than 10%?
And that has to be by December 1st.
1. Yep. January, December
1st. Okay, here we go.
Yes, without question.
Whoa.
Wow. And I think OG, to your point, that usually is what happens. Isn't that what you just were insinuating?
Yeah, I mean, except when it doesn't. So it usually happens, except in 2001 or 2 or most of 3 or most of 9 or 12 or, but whatever. We'll see how it goes.
But Len, as this goes on, I'm getting more confidence. I am too. I'm with you, brother. The 8-ball seems to be calling a pretty good game.
Ironically, the one question it seems to have gotten wrong is the question about whether or not it would get questions wrong.
That is ironic.
That is true. Either that or we all suck, which is probably...
I'm liking this too. It seems like if you ask me, it's almost pitching a perfect game, except for the question about SBK or SBF. Is that how it is? SBF? I think that one's a total loser, but everything else, I think he's doing very well.
I'm going to ask the question next, another one from our wonderful Facebook group. Len, I'm gonna take a question from the group that's gonna go back toward what you were asking that you weren't able to ask because of Elon Musk taking Twitter private. Tyler asked, "Will someone overtake Elon Musk as richest man in 2023?"
Good question.
So by December 1st, which really would insinuate, right? I mean, because I think he's probably on solid ground with his SpaceX work. Tesla might have some issues, but really, Twitter's going to be either the good, bad, or the ugly.
Before we officially ask this question, we should, given that some of his holdings are private and therefore any valuation of them is, from a public's perspective, is a bit of a guesstimate. Whose data are we using in evaluating the world's richest person?
Use Forbes. Forbes has the. I think they have the definitive list.
I know how that list is put together. Actually, have a friend who works on it.
Really?
They do. They have a very rigorous process. So, but of course, many holdings are private. So
sure.
It is it's necessarily an imperfect science.
All right, so to make sure, because we're not sure when Forbes will update the list, as of Forbes' latest, whenever we hit the next recording, will someone else have overtaken Elon Musk as the world's richest man?
Here we go.
Yes, I am sure.
Wow. Another big one. That says a lot if that comes true. That would be quite...
I don't think so.
You think it's wrong?
I think it's wrong. You think it's right?
I don't know. I honestly, seriously don't know. I think this is one that could go both ways. I wish I knew more of the inner workings of what's going on there. I think he's probably fine with Tesla and with SpaceX, but Twitter partway done. Who knows? Like is the house cleaning he's doing effective or not? Like, I can't wait to see what happens there. That will be 2023 is going to be interesting there too. All right, it's time for our final round. Oh boy, we've had some very serious questions so far, guys. So I'm sure we've got just some craziness, I feel like, coming on this last round. Paula, what do you got for the 8-ball to finish your questions?
Well, as longtime listeners know, every year I always ask a question about the British royal family. This year's question is, Prince Harry is releasing a book called Spare that is set to be released around January 10th, 2023. Will the book Spare sell more than 5 million copies by December 1st?
Will Harry's book Spare sell more than 5 million copies? Making it probably... Well, it's probably second to Stacked then.
I was going to say, after Stacked, that's really getting up into the rarefied air there.
I wonder if they'll misspell it on his cake. Scare.
I would love that. And I'm sure, by the way, just like we did, they'll go to Albertsons to get their cake. But they're like walking in.
And throw the book launch party in Texarkana.
That's right. At Hopkins Feed and Seed Bar and Grill. Yeah. All right, Len, let's do it.
Yes, I am sure.
Oh, sounds like a good bet. I'm on board with that. Paula, you on board with that?
Yeah, I think that sounds reasonable.
It's
that sounds like
tougher and tougher every year to sell books. That is a lot of books, but it's a big book, and a lot of people are interested in the royal family. And Paula's not alone there. Len, what do you got for it? Is your last question?
Oh gosh, well, I'm gonna go. There's been a lot of talk about. I'll go way out there. I'm going to go way out there. What the hey? I'm going to throw throw one out there. There's been a lot of talk about UFOs, and the military has been, hinting that there's, alien creatures out there. They've seen the UFOs, and they haven't come out right and said that it's happened. But will there be definitive proof in 2023 that extraterrestrial life exists?
What are we going to use as definitive proof?
In terms of
What are we going to use as definitive proof?
Let's say
home.
An alien being comes. There's either video of an undisputed proof of an alien.
I can
being,
tell you we're going to have
Nothing is undisputed.
I can tell you there will be. We can't even agree on who wins elections. How the heck are we going to do this one?
We are presently having a
somebody's gonna
dispute
talk
over
with
whether
one.
or not things can be undisputed.
I saw a video on TikTok of a alien literally 2 days ago.
Well, let's
if a video is proof, then I have it from
Not
2 days
video.
ago from TikTok.
How about this? In the news, that a reputable news organization actually reports and
That's an
says,
oxymoron.
Well, I know that, but they actually report and say that yes, an alien being was found or is talking with the government of whichever government, some report in a reputable.
Let's name the organization.
This then gets into the question of how do you define reputable?
Well, no. Let's just say, let's not even do that, Paula. Let's just cut to the chase and let's name an organization. It'll be easier to
New
look
York
up that
Times.
way anyway.
New York Times. How's
I
that?
said reputable.
Oh well, I'm the
Oh, burn.
We're gonna just say New York Times. How about that? That is I guess that's the pub, right? Can we agree?
There we go.
It's in the New York Times.
There we go. New York Times.
Good enough? Okay. A story on the New York Times confirming extraterrestrial life exists. And I'm not talking about microbes. I'm talking about, sentient
Intelligent life.
beings. Right. Here we go.
Okay.
You can rely on that.
Oh, you dummy. There's a loser.
Softball. I see what's up. I see.
Oh my God. I'm sorry I asked. And he did it with confidence too. That's what's really. Oh my God.
Which is going to be wild if next year we're all going, who knew?
Yes. Yep. That's right. You know what? We had the same reaction when it made the Trump call. So who knows? You never.
Oh man. OG, beat that one, please.
My kind of off the wall one is something that's going to frustrate you, I think, Joe, a little bit.
I know
My
where you're
question
going. I
is-
knew you were going to ask this.
What do you think I'm going to ask?
I think you're going to
Hold on. 8 Ball. Does Joe know what I'm going to ask? Mr. Predicto.
The outcome cannot be predicted.
I'm going to reset that thing.
Keep going. Come on.
Oh, ask again.
It has been determined so.
All right. What am I going to ask there,
know.
Mr. Joe?
You were going to ask if the University of Michigan football team is going to be in the national championship game.
Actually, no. I hadn't even thought about that. All right. Mine hits a little
There we
harder.
go. There's the 8 ball again for you. We got it.
That doesn't count.
It doesn't count. Redo. This one hits a little firmer. Is Bob Iger going to resign from Disney before the end of 23?
Oh. This is another good one with all the turmoil there.
Should we say by December 1st?
Yeah, by December 1st.
Yes, I am sure.
When he sells out to Apple. Yep.
You think so? I don't think he's going to resign that quickly. Maybe he will.
Maybe.
I think the 8 ball's fallen off the wagon as far as I'm concerned.
I think like the last three questions, the 8-ball's taking a bender. Like, hey, are we done yet? Like it's not even listening.
Make it stop.
All right, the last one, Glenn here in the basement has a question that I'm going to ask because as a longtime Detroit Lions fan, I remember in 1977, my Uncle Eddie, who was hosting the party at halftime, gets up from the football game where the Detroit Lions are blowing another damn Thanksgiving Day game, and he says, you know what? I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. And he walked out of the room. I didn't think, by the way, that was a big deal at the time. Of course he was going to walk out. We've all walked out in the Detroit Lions in frustration. If you're a Detroit fan, you know exactly what the hell I'm talking about. Not a thing, right? But then it's like 2002, I'm at a funeral for another relative. I happen to be standing next to Uncle Eddie, and like any relative you don't see very often, you just, don't got much to say. And the Lions, I think, were having a decent year that year, if I remember. And I said, hey, how about the Lions? Something big was going on with the Lions. I don't even remember. But anyway, I said, hey, how about the Lions? How about them? And he looks at me with a totally blank stare and goes, I don't know. I'm like, you don't know, really? And then I said XYZ, and he's like, yeah, there was this game back in 1977, which I remember clearly. When he walked out, he never came back. And I look at all the time I've lost, all the years and years off of my life, 3 hours at a time, watching the Lions do what they did this Thanksgiving, which a friend of mine, by the way, lives in Texarkana, Texas, never stood next to a Lions fan on Thanksgiving. We're standing there watching this TV at a mutual friend's house, and he's getting all excited about the game because it looks like the Lions might win. And he's starting to get a little excited. And I just put my arms around him, Len. I put my arm around, not arms, I put an arm around him, let's be clear. And I said, dude, I realize as a new guy at this, you don't realize where this is headed. Like, you can't get so excited because the Lions are going to find a way to blow this. And sure enough, with like 5 seconds left in the game, the Lions find another way to lose. So, Glenn, I'm on board with your question, which is, will the Detroit Lions lose the 2023 Thanksgiving Day game again?
Everything points to yes.
There it is. It came back, Len. That is a truthful statement. That is such a truthful statement. And what a great place to end it.
End on a high note.
Fabulous place to end it. The Lions will continue to suck. Yes, they will. All right. Let's find out what's going on where all you guys live. Oh, gee, big plans here in the new year. Big first weekend of 2023.
I've got a huge couple of weeks coming up. Yeah, a lot of travel. Going to the Caribbean for a week. It's
show off.
Yeah, I'll see you dorks later.
Yes. And in fairness, you did ask me if I wanted to go. And I said I would love to go, but I'm just getting back from Europe.
Thank you for not going. Thank you, God, for saying no.
Len Penzo, what's going on at lenpenzo.com here in early 2023, Len? What's going on?
Well, I'm kicking off the year by reminding everybody why I'm not going to lend you any money if you ask me for it. So I have 42 reasons, actually, why I won't lend you the money. We're going to start the year off right. That's my people do New Year's resolutions. I put out warnings to not ask me for money. So stop on by lenpenzo.com and you can read all 42 of my reasons.
Grandpa
Len, I am 99% sure that I shared this when the four of us worked together in the past, that strategy that one guy uses where every year he asks his relatives for money and it's just so they don't ask him.
That's right.
That's great.
Said that.
He's not even trying to get money. He just wants to make sure that he keeps the peace for another year. It's fabulous.
I love it.
Paula Pan, thanks so much for taking time. I know that it's been really busy for you, and I was so thrilled that you'd come back and spend a couple hours, mixing it up with the 8-ball.
Oh, this has been so much fun. This is a great break, a great tradition. Like, it's a time-honored tradition. It would not be New Year's, the New Year's season, without the Magic 8 Ball.
My stomach hurts. It was so fun. But what's going on at Afford Anything now in your absence? What's happening?
So we are continuing the podcast. So the podcast will drop a new episode every Wednesday, and plus on the first Friday of every month. So that's still going strong. Meanwhile, at Columbia, the first draft of my master's thesis is due on January 13th.
Oh, man.
PM. So that is deep in the works. And there is a very, very competitive class that you have to apply to get into. So it's not enough just to be enrolled at Columbia or in Columbia Journalism School. There's one particular class, a book writing course that is famously difficult. It has its own alumni group just from the course. It has... The dean sent out like 5 emails about it. Anyway, I applied. They only take 15 people. I got in.
Wow.
That is about to start, and every single person I've talked to is like, "Oh, thank you." Yeah. Every person that I have talked to who has taken that class is like, "I went in a man and came out a machine." You know, it's famously brutal.
It's like Columbia's version of the Navy SEALs.
Yeah. I don't know what they do to people in there, but it is legendary, and it is it's starting on January 1920.
And you're going to be doing that with a hiatus, which is amazing, all the more remarkable. I mean, it's just how you can work through.
Yeah,
that. It's amazing,
right? With the disability and everything.
Yeah. Right.
I've never had a hiatus and tried to take the book writing course at the same time.
Inflicted by my Stacking Benjamins hiatus. So maybe then after the book writing course, I will have my own book and a cake from Albertsons. This is New York City. The cake is going to come from Milk Bar. So,
which says Paula Paint. It says Paula Paint.
Yes.
All right.
Or maybe you can just say Paula Payne.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know if I can speak on behalf of OG and Len, but I always have this weird flex at parties. I'm like, yeah, my friend was on Netflix. She's right over there, and do the, suns out, guns out kind of thing. Yeah. Crazy. Well, congratulations. It sounds like we're not going to talk to you for the next 4 or 5 months as Paula's writing books and telling everybody, no, that's not a birthmark. That's my Stacking Benjamins hiatus.
Oh, do you want to know the topic of the book, though? Because we had to pitch a book in order to get into the class.
It's the Magic 8 Ball. A love story.
Oh, should we ask? There's no way to phrase this as a yes or no. Wait, Len, I do have one question for the Magic 8 Ball.
Mm-hmm. It's here.
Will I publish the book that I will be working on in this class? Will I ink that deal in 2023 prior to December 1st?
The signs say no.
Yeah,
no.
I agree. I think the Magic 8 Ball got this one right.
Wow.
Well, that's a party pooper.
Well, it's reality. But it's going to be a book about.
Will this count?
It's going to be a book about financial scams.
That won't count. No, it is going to be about financial scams.
Specifically financial scams against the elderly, perpetrated against the elderly. So.
Wow! If only we had a few of those to go find.
I'll be looking forward to that one. So that's good.
It is. Why? Len's looking for ways.
I'm the elderly.
It's not a how-to manual.
I'm your elderly. I gotta know what to avoid.
Just wonder what side of that you were on, Penzo. Just wondering. Yeah. All right, everybody. That's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for hanging out for our Magic 8 Ball episode. Doug, man, you got it from here. What should we have learned today?
So, what should we have learned today? Wait, did we learn anything? I mean, really, did we? That was fun and all, but Thanks to Paula Pant for rejoining us today. You'll see her again back here in May, but until then, you'll still find her cranking out episodes of the Afford Anything podcast wherever you listen to our show. Thanks to Len Penzo for joining us today and for bringing the 8-ball to today's party. I mean, the black plastic one, not the other kind. Although, come to think of it, he should probably give his magic 8-ball a pep talk after what we heard today. You can find Len at lenpenzo.com. Thanks also to OG for joining us today. Looking for good financial planning help? Head to stackingbenjamins.com/OG for his calendar.
Do you know Stacy Johnson? OG?
I do know Stacy Johnson.
OG. He obviously
I don't think
does.
OG knows Stacy Johnson.
Huh?
I don't think he does know Stacy.
I don't. The name doesn't sound familiar.
Stacy's been on.
You know why I'm asking, right?
Oh, I know why. I know why.
Okay.
I don't think I don't think Josh has been on with Stacy. I think it's been Paula and you and I, Len.
Because Stacy loves to flash all those awards of his too. He's got those Emmys sitting right behind him, and his
the Emmys right there in the back.
We've got our
not
little
in the background, in the foreground. You're like talking to an Emmy, and then there's Stacy.
Yes. And so Len and I last time brought like our Plutus awards that look like we took like, and we put them all out there.
Box.
We're like, oh hey Stacy, check out these. He's so damn funny.
I went to Columbia. This building that I'm in right now is the Pulitzer building, and there's a particular room in here called the Pulitzer Room, and that's the room where the Pulitzer Committee decides who's going to win the award. And so I went to a panel discussion about a bunch of people who were on the committee were doing this public panel discussion about how they make the decision, and the takeaway. I remember one guy was like, "Everyone, just chill. It's just an award. Get over it."
It's just an award.
Says the guy that's got like 3 of them.
Yeah.